معنا من يريفان رئيس جمهورية أرمينيا أرمين ساركيسيان. مساء الخير سيد أرمين ساركيسيان، وأهلا بك إلى سكاي نيوز عربية، وشكرا لتلبيتك هذه الدعوة. أبدأ بسؤالي الأول لك سيد أرمين ساركيسيان. هذه المرة من الواضح بأن القتال تجاوز في حجمه وسعة نطاقه ما حدث من تصعيد في الأعوام الماضية. هل يمكن أن تضعنا في الأسباب الآن وما حقيقة ما يجري على الأرض؟
Good afternoon, Fadila. Before we started, I was looking at your program and the footage. Let me start with a friendly gesture, because whatever you were showing were screens from the Azeri side, and there were no footage from the side of the Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh, i.e. from the Armenian side, but that's a small remark. You asked about the reasons. I think that's more a question to President of Azerbaijan, because it was Azerbaijan that started this war. And I can say this war because during the last 26 years, when there were negotiations going on the future of Nagorno-Karabakh between Azerbaijan and Armenia on the platform of OSCE Minsk Group and chaired by the three co-chairs, United States, Russia, and France, there were clashes here and there once in a couple of years' time, but were very, very local. But this one is major, is huge scale, and with life losses of hundreds and thousands of people. But the reason, well, if you hear Azerbaijan officially and unofficially, I think their claims is that they were not happy with the negotiations, and that's why they started believing that they can resolve the issue with force. My comment is here, I don't think there is any way that this conflict will be resolved by force. I don't think that there is any way that people of Nagorno-Karabakh will be ethnically cleansed out. And of course, this conflict has become much more complex with the involvement of the third party. So I hope that the Azeri side, after 6-7 days of fighting, understood that they have not achieved anything substantial. There is no strategic gain that Azerbaijan has gained. But the reality is there are hundreds and hundreds of people on both sides, not only military, but now Stepanakert in Nagorno-Karabakh villages are shelled by Azeri side. So civilians are dying, and civilians will be dying on both sides. So it is going to become sort of out of control. And as I said, the involvement of Turkey makes this even more complex, because there was before not a direct involvement of a third party. It was between Azerbaijan, the Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh, and Armenia, both negotiations, and even there were conflicts here and there. They were calmed down by negotiators, but now it looks like it's much more bigger scale and much more complex, especially because there is a third party, Turkey.
بما أنك تحدثت عن هذا الطرف الثالث الذي يؤجج الصراع وهو تركيا، برأيك طبعا متابع لهذا الشأن، لماذا تتدخل تركيا في هذا الصراع؟ ماذا يريد أردوغان من وراء إرساله مرتزقة سوريين إلى هذا الصراع الذي تم تأجيجه هكذا؟
Well, again, it's not a question to me, as your first question was to President of Azerbaijan. Why on earth President of Azerbaijan or the Azeri side started this war again? And this is a question to Mr. Erdogan, not to me, but I can interpret what I hear. What we officially hear here and there, the Turkish side is claiming that they are there to support their ethnic brothers. Well, ethnic brothers, Turkic ethnic brothers, they go from Anatolia up to the east to Central Asia to Mongolia and north of China. Is Turkey going to interfere ever and each time there is a difficulty in any of these regions or elsewhere? Sometimes they claim that there were PKK fighters, which is absolute nonsense. Instead of that, Turkey has brought to Azerbaijan, not in hundreds, but in thousands, mercenaries. And these are mostly jihadist extremists or terrorists. So it has completely changed, bringing into, like in Syria, terrorists. And this should be making unhappy not only Armenia, not only Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, but I'm sure it will be making unhappy many surrounding states, including Russia, Central Asia, and so on. Third claim that they make, again, doesn't stand any criticism here. That the thing is that what they are saying is that maybe Armenians will bomb the critical infrastructure, which is in this case energy critical infrastructure, pipelines running from Baku through Tbilisi to Ceyhan. But my answer to that, it's already more than 20 years. This pipeline is there. And if Armenians were supposed to bomb it, they could have bombed it early days, even when the pipeline was not, they were just thinking of building it, thus stopping the construction of the pipeline, thus stopping for 20 years Azerbaijan making billions and billions of dollars, thus stopping that billions of dollars being used in order to buy weapons, and thus stopping that billions of dollars that have bought weapons, that weapons to be used to killing Armenians' lives. So this is the official or announced intentions of Turkey, why they are there. None of them is realistic. What are the real reasons of why Turkey is involved now? Probably is different.
طيب الآن سيد الرئيس ساركيسيان، كيف تقيمون الموقف الدولي من هذا التدخل التركي؟ تتحدث عن آلاف المرتزقة أرسلتهم تركيا في هذا الصراع والذي أدى إلى تأجيجه. هل كانت لديكم اتصالات مع مجلس الأمن الدولي حول هذا التدخل مثلا؟
Well, let me come to the international community, and the international community is quite wide. It starts from the United Nations and it goes down to NATO, because Turkey is a member of a NATO organization, and there's a simple question: when Turkey was signing in to become a NATO member, did he sign to something saying that they're allowed as NATO member to get involved in third-party conflict in a very fearful way? Did that agreement allow them to bring mercenaries into the region? There are so many organizations, starting from European Union. There is an organization of collective security treaty that Armenia is a part of that. So we are thinking, and all of these options are on table, we are thinking of going back to third parties and organizations. But the point here is very simple. If this was a conflict between only Azerbaijan, this current war, and Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh, which is supported by volunteers from Armenia and the Armenian nation for reasons that we can understand, then as usual, probably the international mediators or specific countries, that especially those who are the members of the Minsk group, would have had the power to stop this, let's say on the third day or the fourth day or the fifth day. But because of presence of Turkey on the ground in Azerbaijan, this makes much more complex. And I think international community should be worried as well, because there are some interpretations that Turkey is there to stay. I mean, will the mercenaries or terrorists stay there? It's a different question. Or after the war is over, they will go back home. Well, I don't believe personally that. But the important analytical thought here is that maybe Turkey is planning to stay under the sort of excuse that they will be protecting pipelines. In reality, they will control the pipelines that are going from Caspian to Europe, for example, thus making everybody dependent on them on supply of oil and gas from the Caspian region, especially those who are the suppliers, including Azerbaijan and Central Asia, and also those who are the receivers of this energy. So maybe this is the motive of Turkey. But in order to resolve the issue, I think there is only one way to exclude Turkey from this conflict. Then probably we can hope for ceasefire and then further steps.
بما أنك سيد الرئيس تحدثت بأن الأزمة لن تحل بالقوة، يعني هناك إمكانية لحل سياسي، هل ترون بأن الأجواء الحالية مشجعة للدخول في تفاوض؟
Well, you made 2 points and let me explain both of them. First, I don't believe, and there's no Armenian in the world that believes that this conflict is possible to resolve by force. Because especially after Turkey interfered, every Armenian worldwide and every friend of Armenia worldwide remembers that 105 years ago, Turkey has committed a huge crime. The name of that crime is the Armenian genocide of killing of 1.5 million people and creating the Armenian current diaspora from Argentina, United States up to Asia, Russia, Middle East. So we in Armenia, in Nagorno-Karabakh, and in diaspora feel the moment Turkey gets actively involved in Azerbaijan, that this is becoming another attempt of ethnic cleansing or another attempt of genocide. And there is no way that any Armenian, no matter where he or she lives, will accept that. And the moral strength of people of Nagorno-Karabakh, this mountainous people that have seen the invasions from Genghis Khan, Lang Temur, or others, and living on their land for thousands of years, and there were always absolute majority living in Nagorno-Karabakh, will accept this. They will fight to death, but they will not allow this to happen. That's the answer to your first questions. And I firmly believe there is no military solution. Now on the second one, do I want or believe that there is a solution, peacefully negotiations? Absolutely, yes. And there's only one solution to that negotiations. But the model here, the formula is simple. Turkey, under the pressure of international community, under the pressure of those who are friends of Turkey, under the pressure of common sense, the moment Turkey withdraws, and the issue is between Azerbaijan and Nagorno-Karabakh Republic and Armenia, I'm sure the friends of peace in the region will exercise pressure, and we will start step by step. First with a ceasefire, then moving the forces apart from each other, first stopping bombing civilian targets, and then building up gradually the lost trust, and then at the end with the target going back to the negotiating table, which is one of the highest on this planet, which is OSCE Minsk Group, co-chaired by, as I said, Russia, United States, and France. And there is only one solution, going back to negotiating table. But first, Turkey has to be excluded from this picture.
بما أنك ذكرت هذه الوساطة من فرنسا وروسيا والولايات المتحدة، أيضا سيد الرئيس ساركيسيان، هناك دول عرضت الوساطة كإيران، كأيضا جورجيا. يعني ما هو أولا تعليقكم على هذا النوع من الوساطات وأيها أقرب إليكم؟
Well, I would say that we are thankful to all those who are concerned what is happening in South Caucasus. My sincere thanks to all of them. Some of them are concerned because they live nearby. Some of them are concerned because they do understand if this confrontation will go a bit higher in its intensity, it can create a huge disbalance and a problem in the whole Caucasus. And you don't want another Syria in Caucasus, because that will be completely destructive. It would involve everybody in the region, and it will be completely destructive. So thank you very much for all offers for negotiation, for mediation between the sides. Obviously, the obvious strong mediators here could be countries that were already mediating as co-chairs of the Minsk group. These are United States, France, and Russia. And I think we will be continuing hoping that these three mediators will raise again their voice and offering mediator. But as I said, the three states, the members of the Minsk group and their heads of states, I expect them to raise their voice as well, not only calling the sides for ceasefire, but also giving the message to Turkey that their role here is completely destructive. It doesn't help the peace. It just helps the war, and it helps destruction on both sides, and it helps human deaths on both sides. And I think any of your goals, whatever you are seeking in Caucasus, your presence, your influence on energy, it's not worth it. The thousands of young and old and children's lives that we are losing every day.
حدثنا السيد ساركيسيان عن الوضع الإنساني، بما أن هناك وعي ومخاوف من أن المنطقة قد تتحول إلى سوريا أخرى. نريد أن نوضح للرأي العام عبر شاشة سكاي نيوز عربية المخاوف التي تعتريكم من الوضع الإنساني على الأرض.
Yes, I will try to describe it to you, but my first comment was to your colleagues. Why don't you also use the footage, which is talking about humanitarian crisis in Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh, when they are bombing the capital city of Stepanakert, Shushi, villages, destroying them. And I think humanitarian crisis is huge. A lot of wounded from these shellings, those who lost their houses, they are trying to find their shelter anywhere in Nagorno-Karabakh, and some of them in Armenia as well. So that there is growing level of humanitarian crisis. And I'm sure it will be not only on Armenian side, eventually on the Azeri side as well. And this is one very important reason that the shelling and killings and the war should be stopped. And I think this false patriotic announcements, well, I've looked at the information that is presented by the Azeri side. In most of the cases, it's just propaganda. I mean, propaganda in the sense that they've achieved great victories. There are no strategic gains by any of sides. This is the reality. But there are strategic losses of human lives. No strategic gains. So human lives are lost for nothing. And then, of course, plus humanitarian crisis. I mean, people are losing their lives. They are losing their children. They are losing their parents. This is not a conflict or a war on the border or on the front line. I mean, my message to international community here, speak to Turkey and also those who are continuing supplying Azeri side with military equipment. And those who are supplying, they know, I don't have to name those countries. Because this way you are becoming a party of the conflict. The less supply, the less encouragement, and as quick as Turkey will be excluding, then we will have a hope for ceasefire through international pressure, and specifically the co-chairs of the Minsk group, and then there'll be a hope for restarting negotiations. There is no reason on the earth that can explain why on earth replacing negotiations with a war. Nobody said that negotiating after 20 years, successfully, unsuccessfully, you have to stop it because this or that side was unhappy with the other side. If this happens, it's normal in negotiations. You have to be patient. You have to build up trust. If you are unhappy, raise your voice with the co-chairs and those who have influence rather than starting a war. I mean, every human life is so valuable, and it's a huge tragedy on both sides. So my call is to officials in Turkey, let them think about their involvement in Azerbaijan. My call to international community is that Armenians are considering this current war on Nagorno-Karabakh as an ethnic cleansing and the continuation of what happened in 105 years ago, unfinished genocide. And the call is, I firmly believe that there's only one solution to this conflict, which is negotiations. Because for Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh that lived for 1,000 years on their homes in the mountains, these are proud mountainous people, they will not give up. For Azeris, it's all about territory. Having that territory without Armenians, well, well, you call it territorial integrity, self-determination, but it's all about human values, and human lives are on stake.
شكرا جزيلا للرئيس رئيس جمهورية أرمينيا أرمن ساركيسيان. شكرا لوجودك معنا على سكاي نيوز عربية وإتاحة الفرصة لمحاورتك.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.